So when I went to see Ghostbusters, they gave me this. I don't know what it is. I haven't opened it yet. So I saw it at the Dolby Cinema at the AMC. And let's take a look. I remember seeing the original Ghostbusters in the theater and falling absolutely in love with it. I had to go back. I had to keep going back to the theater and seeing it over and over again. I was a huge fan. And then when they were going to make Ghostbusters 2, I was so excited that I went to the theater and then ultimately ended up feeling deflated. And ever since then, it has, that excitement that I had has never come back, especially when I've seen the trailers for the new ones. No, that's not necessarily true, but we'll get into that in a minute. But several years later, Paul Feig decided to make another version with an all-female cast. And this was interesting because they took like parts and elements of the first original Ghostbusters and elements of the second Ghostbusters and tried to put it together and make it work, and it kind of fell flat. And the style of the improv acting didn't really resonate with most of the audience, so it just didn't work. It looked great, it just didn't work. And then we found out that Jason Reitman, the son of the original director, Ivan Reitman, was going to direct Afterlife. And it was interesting because he's coming off of movies like Juno and Up in the Air, so I was really curious to see how this was. So I did get a little bit excited because it looked great, and he was bringing that nostalgia back. And I had every intention to go on opening weekend, and for some reason I didn't go. And when I started hearing the reactions from my friends and others, again, I felt deflated. So I didn't go. I waited months later to watch it at home, and I was underwhelmed. I actually felt that it was quite boring and didn't really go anywhere. And in fact, this one just kind of rehashed the ending of the original. And it was just like, what's at play here? What are you trying to do? It was more of like a sci-fi adventure than a fun, quirky comedy with ghosts. Again, these were components in the first original Ghostbusters that people just couldn't replicate. I had zero expectation, which is interesting because I'm going into a movie theater with apparently the Orlando chapter of Ghostbusters. Yes, that's a real thing. Look it up. And they're there. Costumes on, their memorabilia laying out. They were there. And this time it's directed by Gil Kernan, who also co-wrote Afterlife. So Gil Kernan is known for Monster House and the remake of Poltergeist. So here we go. Watching it with the Orlando chapter of Ghostbusters actually served a purpose. Whenever they saw an original cast member on screen, they went crazy. Whenever an Easter egg was found, they went nuts. It was one of those things that it was funny, but yet sometimes obnoxious. But it was an interesting experience nonetheless, and I am thankful that there is an Orlando chapter of Ghostbusters. To watch this movie, it is really about fan service. It seems like you have to get a super villain to fight our heroes. And it was interesting in the original Ghostbusters, the super villain's like there for like 2 minutes, and then the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man shows up. This one, the whole lore of the supervillain comes into play, and our heroes have to fight him. But our heroes now are basically a family of Ghostbusters, and it starts off again as an sci-fi adventure, tearing up New York City, and it kind of reminded me of when King Kong and Godzilla get together and mass destruction happens. I'm glad they actually talk about the mass destruction in this movie. All of a sudden, you have a family of Ghostbusters, and then the original cast members show up, and they do play a bigger role, which is awesome. But then new characters pop in, and I'm not going to give too much away. The fact of the matter is that if you are a huge Ghostbusters fan, or even a mildly just loved it like I did, seeing everybody back and seeing it pay homage to the original Ghostbusters, and they packed it in, but it just had a darker tone. This is literally the young ladies, the teenage daughters movie. But I love Paul Rudd and I love Carrie Coon. It's just, I don't know. They just haven't figured out to make that dynamic work. It's a teen angst family dramedy with a supervillain, and that's what you're walking into. So if you didn't like Afterlife or the new versions, I'm sure you're probably going to be like me and wanted to just wait to watch it at home. If you are a mild fan or just a super fan or just somebody that just wants a popcorn movie on a Friday, Saturday night, this one will fit the bill. It is a popcorn film, and it has its fun moments and clever dialogue, new ghosts, new creatures, new everything. But at the same time, they just, again, have not been able to replicate the original Ghostbusters. And not saying that that's what that should be every single time. It just seems like this one, it's like, we have a story, and I don't think it's going to sell unless we fan service the heck out of it. And that's what they did. They wanted you to come back and just have just a geek out session for all Ghostbuster fans. And then that level, it worked. But on a different level of the story and everything else, not so much. I didn't really have any. Say it's pretty much unforgettable when you walk out of the theater. And that's that. But again, my opinion is just my opinion. Your voices should be heard. And if you have any thoughts or comments, please, I'd love to have that conversation with you about Ghostbusters. And let's take a look. Unpacking, and it is an official. It's an official Frozen Empire Slimer pen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a proud owner of a Slimer. See, this is good. This is fan service right here, isn't it? Oh, I got a Slimer pen. Go with my Goonie shirt. Yeah. Anyway, please comment. Let's have a conversation. Tell me what you thought of it, how you felt about it, and let me know. Keep subscribe. Keep coming back, and I appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching.